You want to understand your team. Innovation is seeing what everyone has seen and thinking what nobody has thought. With that, we wish a very warm good morning to our esteemed panel, faculty members, alumni, and students. I, Devanshi Sharma, with my colleague Arya, on behalf of the Industry International Committee, welcome you all to Manthan, the Annual Cross Domain Conclave at the Indian Institute of Management, Kashipur. Manthan means deep thinking, which reflects learning and collaboration. It brings experts, leaders, and future professionals together to discuss how areas like marketing, HR, finance, and analytics shape the future of organizations. IIM Kashipur is renowned for its commitment to academic excellence and industry relevance. Manthan aims to bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical application, enhancing the experience and impact of learning. Now, we would like to showcase an introductory video about IIM Kashipur.
The Indian Institute of Management Kashipur is a second generation IIM set up by the Government of India in 2011. In all these years, the Institute stands true to its vision and mission. Our vision is to be an institute of eminence that fosters management research and education and develops leaders for creating positive societal impact in a changing world. And the mission of IIM Kashipur is to create and disseminate knowledge through applied and interdisciplinary research and practices in emerging areas of management. IIM Kashipur is committed to its four core values of collegiality, transparency, green consciousness, and proactive engagement with all the stakeholders. IIM Kashipur has a sprawling campus of 200 acres, situated in one of the most beautiful locations in India. The lush green campus is nested in the lap of the Himalayas in the state of Uttarakhand. The institute enjoys the nearby industrial belt, having more than 180 ventures. The strategic geographical positioning provides a vantage point for IIM Kashipur when it comes to learning right way through regular industry interaction and live projects. IIM Kashipur is equipped with all the modern facilities ranging from the technologically advanced classrooms to hostels, providing all the amenities and infrastructure such as gymnasium, library, amphitheater, other sports facilities, and shops for daily requirements. The Institute offers various programs that are MBA in Athletics, Executive MBA, Management Development Program, PhD, Executive MBA Analytics. We are continuously able to cater to what the industry demanded. The latest edition of MBA Analytics, January 2020, in those offerings is a testament to that. Our Executive MBA program developed has kept abreast with the evolving trends at institutions, such as first generation IIMs. IIM Kashipur has a mix of permanent and visiting faculty to offer a holistic learning experience in various domains. There are 40 plus permanent faculties who are some of the best professors and research minds. The Institute has also been able to bring in subject matter experts from leading companies and other institutions as visiting faculties to equip the students with the best industry practices and perspectives. The Institute has established four centers of excellence that are Center of Excellence on Public Policy and Government, Designed Innovation Center, Foundation for Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development. Three years started incubation center at Kashipur, operating since 2018. In the last 6 years, we have also had more than 200 startups able of starting a new business and scaling out their existing solution. These student-driven habits, from placements to functional work, from academic to non-academic activities, there is a student body for each discipline. Being a part of such student bodies and event-specific teams, students get first-hand experience of time management, working in a team, situation building, and managing positive relationships with the administration. IIM Kashipur secures full clients with leading medical institutes across the world, including Spain, France, Denmark, Greece, Italy, South Korea, Thailand, UK, Thailand, and many more. IIM Kashipur also offers the short-term exchange program, STEM. We are indebted to our students and alumni for maintaining the legacy of the Institute. In their determination, we have been granted the reputed APCSP membership. We aim to achieve new heights with every new batch of students. We celebrate the ups and downs of the journey of our current students who would like to wish them luck for more years. So gathered the theme of innovation unleashed, redefining business, to create a sustainable future. We are not just talking about the next big idea. We are talking about innovation. The future of business is being defined not by profit margins alone, but by purpose, responsibility, and scale. That brings us to the first panel. Purpose meets performance, embedding sustainability across business functions. So this discussion, we aim to explore how sustainability can no longer be maintained, remain a silent initiative on a corporate slogan. It must be heartbeat of every business function. Because when purpose drives performance, innovation does not just transform companies, it transforms the world. Now we are excited to gain insights from our accomplished industry experts, with rich experience and expertise. I want to welcome all our panelists and I look forward to an informative and engaging audience from you all. Now I request Devanshi to join me in introducing our esteemed panelists.
Thank you, Arvind. It is a pleasure to be a part of this conclave, and I am thrilled to introduce our esteemed panelists. First up, we are honored to welcome Mr. Amaresh Singh, a seasoned HR leader, certified coach, and management enthusiast with over 35 years of experience. An in-state alumnus and respected leadership mentor, he has led HR functions across India and the Asia Pacific region, driving growth and transformation in global organizations like Alstom and GE. Known for his strength in leadership hiring, organizational design, and coaching, he has been recognized among the top 100 CHROs by the HRD Congress. Beyond work, he is a sports lover, an avid traveler who has explored 20 plus countries and a firm believer in lifelong learning. I would like to invite Professor Utkarsh, Chairperson Placement, to felicitate our guest of honor, Mr. Amaresh Singh. First of all, remain back to the next couple of guests. Next up, we have Mr. Hariram V, serving as the country manager for Pinnacle Group India and a distinguished HR and business leader with a proven track consulting and workplace transformation across the SAARC region. With nearly 2 decades of experience in an organizational development consultant, he has successfully led large-scale cultural and structural change initiatives across industries, including IT, healthcare, automotive, and retail. An IIM Bangalore alumnus, he is widely recognized for his strategic understanding of the synergy between business and people strategy, helping organizations drive sustainable growth and excellence. We request Professor Utkarsh to facilitate our team get the honor. We are honored to welcome Mr. Rohit Gulati next, the Chief Marketing Officer at Johnson& Johnson Surgical Vision India. With over 2 decades of leadership across global healthcare giants such as Bausch& Lomb, Becton Dickinson, and Merck, he brings deep expertise in sales, marketing, and strategy. And I am very nervous and a three-time TEDx speaker. Mr. Gulati is known for driving innovation, digital transformation, and his entrepreneurial mindset and passion for innovation continue to shape the evolving landscape of healthcare marketing in India. We request Professor Utkarsh to kindly felicitate our guest of honor.
Welcome, Mr. Sahadev Vyas, Chief Financial Officer at Z2. Strategic and result-driven finance leader with over 2 decades of experience across leading multinational organizations. As a seasoned CFO, he has a sector to driving business growth, ensuring sustainable profitability, and strengthening financial discipline. His leadership combines strong financial expertise with a focus on operational excellence and beyond the boardroom, Mr. Vyas enjoys reading and exploring global economic and geopolitical affairs, reflecting his commitment to continuous learning and a broader global outlook. Now I would request Professor Deepak Roman, PhD, to please facilitate our guest of honor. Start with Marath Kanchan, management professional with over 17 years in power and pharmaceutical sectors. Takshashila Consulting, he leads strategies in HR, project management, business development, corporate strategy, focusing on margin-driven growth and sustainable management. For ISB Hyderabad and IIT Ghaziabad, he has worked with conglomerates, not only digital producers. His work reflects a deep commitment to providing life and strategic impact, and he has contributed impactful thought pieces to our organization. Now, I will request Deepak Singh to felicitate our guest with us. We are very pleased to welcome Mr. Manish Malhotra, Chief Human Resources Officer at Pinnacle Group, seasoned HR leader with 19 years plus of experience. Previously, he was the VP HR at Western Living Limited. He led leadership development and large-scale HR transformation there. Awareness of Executive Jamshedpur and the enterprise leadership program at IIT Hyderabad, Mr. Malhotra is a recognized expert in talent management, inclusion, and organizational design. Students looking at institutions like IIMs and NIFTs on future leadership in the digital era. Professor Deepak would felicitate our guest of honor. Now, our very own Professor Deepak Professor Vivek Kumar will help us in moderating this panel. He is a teacher of strategic management at IIM Kashipur. He holds a PhD in strategic management from XLRI Jamshedpur and B honors in electrical and electronics from Institute. Before academia, he contributed to R&D at Mercedes-Benz and IIM Industries. His research focuses on CSR, sustainability, through innovation, with publication in top journals. He has designed management development programs for organizations like Mass Healthcare, Indian Oil, and DIT. At IIM Kashipur, he shapes future leaders through business innovation and strategic management. Now, I would like to request Professor Deepa Pamar to solicit the rest of our.
Professor Vivek Kumar to initiate the session.
Good morning. First of all, thank you to our esteemed guests for taking on time for winter day and coming all the way to Kashipur for this discussion. But this discussion, I think, is very important. Long back when I was a kid, the National Book Trust used to take out their vans in smaller cities like Himachal as same size as Kashipur, right? So just imagine about 20 years ago, they used to take out their book vans and anyone would go and read there. One cartoon that I still remember in one of those books was that if we continue our industrialization the way we are doing, one day we will have a very disturbing world. And I got that flashback when I saw that Gazipur dump and was birds in the flying there. Especially at this point in time near Delhi NCR, the kind of swarm that enters it, it's like speaking basically in this if you are outside, you know, so definitely on the one side, we need industrialization, we need economic growth, right? Otherwise, even today, there are a lot of poor people, right? And it is the industrialization which is actually has not the fruit of human labor. I think humanity has never been as involved as we were in any point in time in history. On the other hand, I think humanity has also never been as polluted as it is today. Right? So scientists are saying that in the blood, these microplastics are in almost all including our blood, in the land, in the water, oceans. Forest, even in Amazon forest, they say these kind of pollution has reached. So the topic for today, purpose meets performance in wedding system. I think no topic can be more important than this topic. As we speak, of course, not only the pollution, for example, only yesterday in the news, Tehran is about to run out of water in a couple of days, and the said capital probably would have been. Conversely, almost everywhere, every country, I think, in last 1 year would have faced floods at one place or the other. So floods are becoming more common, wildfires are becoming more common, droughts are becoming more common. And these are probably becoming more common. We had snow this time in, I think, end of September in Prague Support, which is rare. Right? So what we want to today understand is how does the industry look at this challenge, right? We as a tradition, we can continue to say that, oh, okay, sustainability is very important, this needs to be done, but on the other hand, we also have to look at financial sustainability of all. So with this, may I request Amaresh Singh, because he is with GE and the statement all is that three leaders. So Amaresh, could you please share your thoughts on this, like any examples, like how do you look at this issue at all?
Thanks so much. First of all, thanks to the Vice Chancellor, the Guru sitting here, the students for inviting me for this session. I feel very proud of being here, interacting with you. You're the future. I'm 60 years old. I'm just about to retire. You are the people who will take it take this whole world ahead. It should have been better I sitting there and learning from you because you are facing the challenges and the change. Coming to, I think the context of GE as a company, it's like 125 years old, one of the top companies in the world, which has led multiple transformations, new things, innovations, R&D, and it has shown its presence around the world. But GE was, in the last decade, was not doing as good as it was in past. And it was because of the way the changes were taking place across the globe, and maybe we were not adapting to it. Very recently, GE decided, GE was a conglomerate of multiple businesses. We had all kinds of businesses. We are in aerospace, we suddenly this planes flying around the world at GE engines. We are in healthcare, we were in oil and gas, we were in transportation, multiple business. So she started to find all those businesses. It's not making sense for the future. She took a step 3 years back to decide a spin-off. So conglomerate means the corporate and then multiple businesses. She decided to spin off and we created three new GE companies. So we have three GE companies from one GE company. There's a GE Aerospace, GE Healthcare, and GE Vernova. I'm part of GE Vernova. GE Vernova is the energy arm. Now, GE Vernova was the weakest um, GE. Okay. It was the weakest company because all the businesses which were in energy were going back. And one of the reason of the spin-off was to separate this arm and let it function on its own. And the journey has been like this. Two data points. When we started, it was just 2 years back, we started as a G Wood No company. We had a 30 billion market cap. Today, we have 170 billion market. So, that is a how we go across the world. It was not easy for us to come from new businesses who were not making getting further to be one of the key leading companies of today in the future world. And it was almost because of the topic we are discussing today. So we put the purpose in front and the performance to follow the purpose. Okay, we decided how to new company our strategies and decarbonize the world. So we started looking at things which makes sense, which providing uh, sustainability to be in the world and it's great. So that's where the whole game changed. We decided not to follow just the numbers of the performance by the numbers, the financial metrics. We started to look at things. We participated in United Nations Global Compact program, and we actually very closely followed 10 of the sustainable development goals of UNGC. And then when this became the in slowly changing narrative, we started to find out few of the things which were not successful. If we come to combine it will come to net zero emissions, then we can't have few of the businesses in these process of 2 years. We closed down businesses which were not for the future. Only they were reaching back. Okay, our normal street business. They were very doing the risk because we were in confident in the future. That's the journey of Sure. I'm proud to be here. With more moving the discussions to you. Thank you. Even I was wondering like something like a G and we collaborate. What's G and we collaborate this stop performing when usually that's usually what happens. And G has seen this transformation. I'm wondering what is the secret. I think part of the answer is that we are focusing on sustainability
which is kind of a blue ocean as of now. There is not much competition there. On the other hand, of course, the experience that this government has, of course. So thank you for that. Hari, could you please share your thoughts on efforts at balancing purpose and performance?
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to use trust. So I come from Pinnacle Group. We are more into the workforce solution space, right? I have the luxury of handling or rather integrating large workforce solutions for us first, and then we take it back to our clients. And in that, the purpose, meeting performance, I think it's an open single example. A lot of people are reverse engineering this with respect to flexible working model, right? Few companies let loose people completely working remote. They realized it had some challenges around productivity, it had some challenges. Of course, we feel interested to face a new concept called moonlighting, right? I don't know if there's more new terms that have already cropped up in the way people balance couple of environments, hiding couple of them behind the scenes. Point is, this is probably the largest thing that we brought into we research area. So we could go globally. We probably go. We never invested in building it. But the two offices also because we need licenses. We need one physical office at least to register, showcase that physical presence, etc. Otherwise, we probably are in the process of getting the third one, but these are all global headquarters. So Google headquarters, US, we got headquarters in Chennai, India. It probably has in the headquarters coming from somewhere in the island of the but the point is, purpose meeting performance. We looked at the primary focus when we started looking at we build our workforce, right? How do I identify which is the cohort for which skill? How do I do I do tier one, tier two, tier three? Do I drop pin codes, forget the tiers, just go get talents? Now, this is where the most critical decision trigger change the way we look at workforce, right? In our physical office, of course, my office is built for the entire workforce of 150 seats. But we hardly 20 of us who go to the office. Whether it was a wise decision, not a wise decision, that's a different story altogether. But we needed a space where everyone could meet at least two of weeks in a year. And we decided we will still build the outcome. Right? But the rest of them are all across the country. So when whatever was happening, area one actually their parents giving me live clips ahead of news. So what we saw in the news channel, I'm really having a WhatsApp group with throws all of it. Right? And then we had people who probably was like floods somewhere in Japan. And so it's like out of our 180 and odd people over. So we also had the same challenge. There's no one to monitor. We are not the organization that puts tools around their uh, systems to monitor which web page are they using, what tools are they using. We don't do any of those there. So we kind of let our belief go with we're not hiring kids, writing which information who knows to do what they want. And so that's what it is. And how did we do it? It was more about how we do our selection process itself. So what we don't have a JD. We build what we call a success profile. The success profile is a very balanced way of looking at the individual. We look at the professional, we look at the individual, and not just the capabilities. So they have the skill, they not have the skill is not the first question that we talk about. Right? Our interview mechanisms are not telling me something about yourself. Yeah, can you achieve this KPI? No, that's not what we do. Ours is more grounded to behavior, trust treatment, those kinds of questions. Where we look at a holistic way, which we look at skills. I'm not saying we won't look at skills or we look at skills. It's an overall way of looking at how would we land this person in our organization? How would this person fit into our organization? can I really drive value out of this person when they join? Then comes the KPIs. It's about how well integrated every role's KPIs. Right? We give the broad spectrum to them and we make it aspirational for them to work because unlike few of the other players in the market, we've got anything called threshold. You deliver one, you get an incentive for it. You deliver 20, you get an incentive appropriately for it. So there was nothing called threshold. We never said, first send back your salaries to us, and then we start paying you an incentive. It was okay. That was more or less the capital that we fetched back in our. So the KPIs were alright. Moral of the story is we realized that we started attracting people who believe that their purpose and our purpose create that value in the ecosystem match. We realized that those people who really voluntarily wanted to contribute are the people who naturally got attracted towards us, not just the people who are hunting for jobs. Right? In the world here, are often upset as they want this. Right? And we do have a lot of tech people. Right? Of course, we have a very great industry here. If I would say this is a place where more tech people who are pursuing in their jobs. And then so we manage that. And that's where the purpose actually meets our values. Once that is done, performance is just work in progress. It keeps going on and on and on. Right? So, very close progress. Thank you.
I think that's interesting. Long back, Karl Marx, of all people, right, who follow in business school, he used to say, like, geez, like, if you make people just, like, they're selling their labor against the money, and they, of course, will become dehumanized, right? And I think the thing about when we are coming to embedding sustainability is in a purely capitalist system, we are really discovering that, okay, we are not just saying one labor, but humans. So, thank you so much, Hari. Really come to know and we're talking about it there also. The challenges, especially in healthcare industry, and how I think the gap can be there between purpose and how the healthcare.
That's, thank you for having me here. I think to thank the students as well for having me, I think last evening as well. Yeah, for having me last evening as well.
Having me last evening, I had a chat with the students. Very good time last evening as well. Um,
Question on purpose. See, he was coming and going if you want.
in Brian GNJ, there's a credit statement. You go into one of our offices in JNJ, in Mumbai, or any other place across the globe, you have a credit statement. Credit statement defines our purpose. Our purpose is to the patients and to the stakeholders. So it's as direct as that. That all of us get guided by the credit statement. All of us get measured by the credit statement as well. So, Sami, I get a report at the end of the year on my credit scores. So I have a score. How do my team look at me? How do my peers look at me? How do my customers look at me as a credit score? So I think purpose today is very, very critical. Last evening I was talking about Gen Z. If you guys remember about Gen Z, today Gen Z wants to join organizations which are purpose driven. I see that huge change. I never wanted to join an organization just because it's sustainable, right? Guys, Gen Zs want to join an organization which is sustainable, which is purpose driven. When you take an components, so you only three organizations purpose driven. Now, where did purpose come from? Right. When we were joining, all of us have worked across many global organizations. We never thought that we will join one purpose and see that.
our jobs. And at that point in time, we wanted to work in a good agency. Someone of Yoga Indian college. So we all have this purpose actually come from. They, I think people are more important about the purpose. One of the organization, one for instance, is a personal story. Purpose of the organization, and Amaresh talked about he, when you have people whose values are similar to your organization, you feel I'm joining an organization which is purpose driven, it's aligning to my values, my value system. This is something which I wondered throughout my career. कि ऐसी कौन सी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ज्वाइन करनी चाहिए which is aligned to my purpose. Um, is helping out when I love about healthcare. One statement I suppose from a lot of people like, and I feel that when I go home from work, I feel fulfilled because I feel my purpose of saving the life of a patient is fulfilled. Somewhere my products are taking care of some patient, some corner, right? And he's getting better. So when I put this across the table, somebody said, no, that's the company's purpose. That's not your purpose. Right. So what is your purpose is also something, so I'm getting a little away from that topic, but I'm broadening the topic as well. There are two questions of story. One is purpose of the company and one is your purpose. And like, just remember, your purpose in life extends beyond the company. So what is your purpose in life? Right? If your purpose in life aligns with the company purpose, perfect. If it doesn't work towards your purpose in life, right? In healthcare, we prepare a lot of products. So at Johnson and Johnson, our products are focused towards the patient. We prepare technologies which are towards the patient. You go to YouTube, you will find one of the TEDx talks is only on sustainability. Right? One TEDx talk which I spoke, I think the year back was only on sustainability. And then was talking about there are products which are like drug-eluting stents. You must have heard about stents which save the heart. There are drug-eluting stents. They will elude themselves. But you will not see now there are bone cements which will become like bone of healthcare companies are moving towards such products so that the carbon emission, the net zero comes down drastically. We are working closely with the hospitals. The hospitals want to also become green hospitals. Polo Hospital in his last assignment, he was telling me green hospitals are something which hospitals want to get towards. I think one small example in my last company, we used to have those needles, professor, needles which go inside the body, the body of when you are in the hospital. So I used to be the The problem was हॉस्पिटल में जैसे ही पेशेंट को वो लगा वो डस्टबिन के अंदर फेंक देते हैं अब needles still out any healthcare worker who picks it up will get something called as linguistic injuries MCs. It's a big thing. Apollo, I know those words. So Apollo and hospital banks came to us and said, how can we prevent needle stick injuries? We went to a third party. We went to a third party and said, कि हमको इसका एक रक्षण लगा के दो. You the crusher crushes it, right? So that those needle stick injuries are not there because needle stick injuries also means many multiple diseases coming to the healthcare workers. So these are some of the examples, and I'll talk more because there are many things in healthcare we're trying to be sustainable, and I think the other state of healthcare, which is the hospitals, are also helping us. So it's actually both sides which are coming together. Thank you, Guruji.
So I think what is coming up from the first three panelists is that for me there's no real trade-off, right? You don't have to say that okay, no, only sustainability or only performance. So as a consultant, probably would have an experience of a lot of organizations. So do you agree with that and how do you look at this?
So wholeheartedly I agree with this. Good morning, everybody. So across various clients, what we've done is understand how to cross them, right? So the first thing that we do with them is we come up with a hybrid approach. What I mean by a hybrid approach is that you can trust and transparency of this solution and you marry it with a reach these things of a digital system. The second thing that you do is that you do what is called a fractal business model. It sounds like something esoteric. It's not. I center the global business model of that and transfer it down to the very basic level. Now the chain, they need to follow the same models, the same thinking that is there at the top level. And the third thing that we look at is how do you translate it down to a talent level. Remember that now things will come from what Westerners call the bottom of the pyramid. And that's where the institution of India lies, right? That's where sooner rather than later, most of the money is going to be. So your business model will need to adapt to them in a very sharp and very fast manner. The thing that you need to look at is what is the problem that you're going to try to solve, right? So for a telecom client of ours, it was making data available to everybody, whole of India, making it cheap, making it available, making it readily available for them at a cheapest possible cost. For a sugar project, project that we did, it was more like how do you low speaking sugar plant into a profit center in a particular area which has all the soil fertility, all the fertility for sugar. So was against the client was that this was a BIFR company which had been taken over. And
Okay, if I do without the mic.
yeah, and it was a BIFI system they were taken over, and the farmers they had lost trust in the system or in the company concern, right? So do you ensure that you're in it for the long runs, that they think of you as partners, think of you as something who has a sustainable business model for them. So it's a multi-generation vision that you have. So cut a long story short, I resonate with everything that the panel and Sanjay G, Rohit G, Hariram G have said. It's the norm rather than an exception now. Thank you.
Thank you. And especially the sugar thing, it's closer to home because this area is one of the two sugar balls of India. Even in Kashipur, I think our older campus was sugarcane research institute of the GV Pant Forest. But people say that in finance, people are the one who object to. So sometimes people think that even finance will not object to these days on this. They're still a kind of sustainability and business as well.
yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me here. I would like to congratulate students for organizing these events. So it is often misconceptions that finance are against innovations or sustainability. That's wrong. It has changed over a period of last couple of years. Same technology. Now, finance leaders are seen as the business partners. They are the co-pilot of the CEO. Finance leaders are the second persons in the organization as the expert. Transactions and what's happening in the organizations. Right, so they have a vital role to play on sustainabilities, being achievement teams. They are part of the CEO's decision table where they support the CEOs and other investors with designs, analysis, and help them make informed decisions, which helps them to more valuations. So that's the role of the finance in this startup.
Thank you, and it's interesting to hear. Yeah, so this thing, your industry, I think again is natural resource intensive, energy intensive, even I think transportation also is so energy intensive. So how do you look at Sure. Good morning, everyone. Honored to be here again. It's the second visit to the IIM Kashipur. And I'm coming to my industry, especially the background. I worked in textiles for a long time. I do almost 90 years in creating textiles. And if you look at today, I think in the industry is more complex, ownership created, people need to know about it. I think I'm not really fortunate part of the organization goes again going for their values and purpose. My first take was the direct. If you look at an organization, we have some sustainable organization. Now, we have as those charts, we have the ETP was these are every where we are using that water. We use on because the close manufacturing we can consumption of water is very high. Apart from that, what types of dyes are you using? And especially sludge coming out from background to handle. So as an organization, I think we are very committed. Uh, Again, the you can say, consumption of electricity is very high on energy. Company invests a lot of money in terms of solar, the green energy. We have invested a lot of money as an organization, and I think today, this and now, I think I won't say it's a purpose. I think sustainability is something you have to look forward. Today, if you look at, I think it's around 75 years old organization, I think very few organizations have seen for a long time. I think it's not as an issue. How does survive over a period of time? So multiple things, I think multiple initiatives time to time we take. And as an HR, I think we have to support those things, how we can co-create, collaborate, when we have a shared, KPIs with our markets. We look at the waste management issue, uh, sharing the waste management KPIs. Then you can create something how we can be more innovative in terms of managing waste control waste. Putting the right system, you will be able to reduce goods right first time. I think this is few things, by which organizations, I think most of the organizations are conscious today, and there are these index instead of putting always focused ranking of the organizations in terms of sustainability and how are they moving forward. And it is not only talk about from this point of let's see what's standard or modernization of the plan. How you are skilling your own people in terms of increasing the change, bringing the candidates in the workplace, having the people with a special ability in the workplace. How you creating a sensitization in the people, how can you accept. And now my last assignment was with this one. I think it's again one of the examples of to see when they started with Anjar. Uh, they started with Anjar. I think it's a big investment around 250 CR. The company has invested in setting up the ESTP, and we are like it's a 30 mlt per day. That's the capacity which we're using. So all the sewage water used from the Hutch area, and they're recycled and used for the manufacturing of textile. I think we can proudly say that I think that's why using a zero fresh water in manufacturing of the textiles. Apart from that, we have a 19 megawatt solar for the energy. And as an HR, we encourage people to hold together. Let's say together. We have used this also from the captain. And I think multiple initiatives that I'll start talking about it, especially in textile. I think if you look at Levi's, look at some of the brands, I think they're very conscious and very sustainable. If you look at what's its manufacturing for the brand. So I think multiple things are people are conscious today, and like I said today, people talk about more purpose. Everybody looking for what exactly we're doing as an organization, and of course, I think one of the criteria people want to work from home. I think this is contributing. But end of the day, I say it's a product. So I also there is a profit, of course, but so if it is sustainable, I think finance people should be able to invest. I think because there's always no ROI in how you project the organization.
We are responsible for the investor, those are putting money in the organization. And today people are talking about that, these things is one of the governance. And one of the story I can recall, I think it was in must be in history. Yeah, so one of the old document, I think it is HR and I are
Mics are not sustainable.
batteries are, I think you need more charge for so so this is going when society boycotting the products. I think especially there was a time when HUL was fired a lot of people from their organization and the trade unions people were writing this super from our card. I think people boycotting them. So I think today, I think from that time to till today, I think we are sensitive. I think each one of us sitting here is responsible if you ask me for sustainability. We should use which is required to be used. And we should be conscious in terms of how we manage our waste management because each one of us sitting here is generating the waste. So I think you have to be very critical. Like if you look at the green business, if you want sheets, you have to teach. I think it's again one of the part of it. This is all. Thank you. This is for me. I think that's really can. Yeah. Thank you. And sorry, I just shared this important organization just 5 days back. And I even was very happy to see that Singapore is being very committed towards sustainability. I saw the STP was very happy to see the organization like it's not really into the summit with the like home for the I should organize a bit in 1,500 here, but they are again, setting up something where they can reduce the waste they can control that dust because you see especially in the manufacturing of a tiles and bathroom. The dust is for the people of the so we have state of the art facility which are running up planning in more area. Another facility will coming in that you know. And looking organization today, I think you can say even small to medium to all size. It is working for sustainability like less uses of papers, most of the flows are happening through teams approvals and what exactly is still doing. I think we don't maintain a physical file which we used to maintain that. So I think that is the system which so I think we are contributing it to the steps.
Thank you, so I see. One, I think very interesting that came out from this first round of discussion was what really said that nowadays young people are looking for organizations which are compulsory. So let us hear from the other panel members also. Is this their shared experience? Yes.
Absolutely. It is not only a shared experience. I did a survey with the Gen Z globally. I did a survey of what attracts them to join the organization. And it was on part of the list. I think influences or organizations who follow things in formal request. So uh, things that legitimately look at when selecting a company or say, of course, they're looking uh, mind depth towards the um, that's they look some way skills for it. That's what the future was. Nothing uh, they really understood this. And this is the word how manipulate story. So like for my function, I do I'm a human resource professional. I'm lucky I did in 60 years. I'm going out. So you also reduce some money. They are the system. You have a good resource and a distant resource. Of course, then it's going to be a human and distant resource. Yeah. It's not sustainable to have a human resource and the government which is not not terms on the minds, they are not digitally there. If you don't have those minds, if you don't have those skills, you have to so your questions. That's what no the Gen Z look at purpose and how they work in the company, which the way our friend Rohit said, like, your purpose and company's purpose together, and that's the primary moment of the engagement. Well, so speaking, I was just thinking, what are the differences between two companies? One purpose driven, non-purpose driven. So please to remind that there are three things. You probably would separate between a purpose driven company and a non-purpose driven company in a long run. Right? One is in a purpose driven company as a consumer, I will have more trust. Right? I'll be more loyal. So number one is trust. Number two is loyalty. My loyalty towards the company will be much higher. It's purpose driven. Long-term equity of that company over a period of time is also going to be very high. So these three things probably set that company apart. I don't know, students read a lot, and I'm very sure they must have read about some companies today who are just putting sustainability inside their agenda, not greenwashing, but putting it into their strategy, into their contents, to the consumer. They are winning in a very big way. They are beating the big ones. And I saw in shows somewhere. There are shoes which are sustainable shoes, and which are you can actually put your name. So basically, if I'm not the right saying, Rohit and Gulati on the two sides. They are made from sustainable shoes. Neighbors, right? So very popular. I think in Mumbai and South the regions, it's absolutely a rage for Gen Zs. If you look at Gen Zs, they're very functional. Nike or Reeboks. And what are you doing? Right, go to customer. Yes. They have people hunts out Nike Reebok. When Nike is trying to have a new spirit. Many of the big brands, they want to enhance because they are purpose-driven. So impact is huge.
And there's also that 140-year-old company US does not file for bankruptcy.
It's rightly said, and sustainability, which is actually keeping the organization going on. Because time to time they're looking how we can modernize the whole facility, how can we stop the consumption of, let's say, energy. So I think how we have how much it is turning off But I think individual purpose is always there. We have each one sitting there have purpose. That is why I know if you are balance. I think as an HR, we have a lot of responsibility when it comes to educating people. Those are unavailable. How should one actually impacting the other. So I think the small thing I can talk about, let's say putting a board in a canteen, how much food waste in a day. The small thing to sensitize people that be conscious. We take that much which you can eat. So I think the small steps and I don't have to reward those things. We were educating people, like especially the new generation, we are embracing all genders at workplace, especially the LGBT, the groups coming forward. How we are sensitizing the managers, how to embrace them at workplace is a responsibility of an organization. To educate people, especially to accept them. So I think one of the proud thing we can say in one of our organization in last company, we had a transgender starting from now then that's always the fact. We are not just saying something like Rohit rightly said, you can just project those things. Okay, I'm doing X, Y, Z things today. And I think today information is so easily available. I think nobody can bluff. I think today, why we are here, we are talking about our own experiences, right? So those are not available on ChatGPT or Copilot. So this is something which people will come from home, face those challenges and come over. So those are practical challenges. We say that we are open, but I think after so much while we have certain things and such, it's not so easy for us. It's in very much, because even having a nice, each one is now having their own space to survive. So I think this is responsibility on this how we are taking forward. Thank you.
Maria, I think you were.
Yeah, well, it's just to add on to this point, right? So it's quite funny. We are in consulting sports, probably even industry. When we go out and start consulting on DEI stuff, the first thing we say is your policies must be different. Really, you can't have a he, she, just a fun. Uh, it's a practical story. So we successfully finished the boardroom conversation 2 weeks. The entire paperwork of about 600 plus policies, completely new to gender. We had apples as well. So we kind of achieved our target. We walked out of that. And then the wake-up call hit us from. That was manufacturing sector, but it was manufacturing sector. The only toilets they had were made. They didn't have a female toilet. Forget anything else. We were walking out of the boardroom. We noticed this and you like, how big is this? Right? Second, they were all, it was a flood prone zone. So there were no steps. Now, how will a differently abled person walk back into it? My policy now talks about hiring 2% differently abled people. How do we do that? Because now the physical infrastructure has to be completely changed. We need to be able to adhere my own policy that I just did. Right? Things of that sort started happening. And similar is the case when it started the topic of sustainability, the ESG or the green skills, right? Now that stop you can add value on this because so we go to say we go and actually get hit sometimes when I talk about getting do it. So but then what's the whole deal, right? It's not just about the mindsets that are in the boardroom. It's needed to be carried to the last mile, which includes the physical infrastructure. And I think that's the evolutionary journey that most of our organizations in India is going through, right? It's easier in the large corporates because there's already somebody sitting in the US who's thought through about all of these. We literally copy pasted some ideas, of course, Indianized it, so on and so forth. Similarly, when we take our policies to rest of the APAC region, super comedy thing, right? Dress code policy. A simple dress code. I couldn't implement India's dress code policy in Philippines because Monday, Tuesday, somebody is a man. The same person, Wednesday, Thursday is a lady, and Friday they decide. Now, when there is a dress code policy, the head came and asked me, so how should I register this person? I don't know. Can you help me demystify this for me? And they're like, yeah. Now, I took a US policy, I applied my brain, I implemented it for India. I had success. I didn't. I had to go back, put hell a lot of investment to physically change the environment. Now I have a playbook. Taking it to an alternative country, the playbook is gone. It's what's happening for us in reality when it comes to green scale, sustainability, DEI, all the topics. I think as students, you guys will have to look at it in a much more larger lens, right? I would say drop telescopes and microscopes, probably start using kaleidoscopes. You will get a fantastic design right in front of your eyes that we probably couldn't see, right? Because our brains are adulterated with 20 years and 30 years of experience, right? We conditioned ourselves to a large extent. right? Even today, boardroom, we say he, right? No matter how much the policy is determined, we say he. That's how we kind of transition towards it. What's the food for that I want?
So you are the anyone who to speak.
Yeah. No, I just have a few thought points to the topic. I'm studying okay, especially this business it's are differentiations. So, for example, like Apple doesn't sell the iPhones. Apple sells the innovations, technologies, blockchains. It's like sell the watches. This helps the luxury. So this is what it creates as the customers and the event creates for the customers and not for the shareholders. These are the thought process when some and all trees. So this was very important for this channel. When developers feel like most also like for the schedules right? Yes, the governments which now investors like in the financial so is sustainable growth rate to this fairly lots of sections for this also right services. Okay. Thank you, Professor. So fire is listening to all the panelists. What's meant for the students here, right? I mean, everybody here is from intelligent enough to come up with a purpose. How do you ensure that it reaches the impactful stage? So maybe what you can look at is what is the systemic cost, or what is the systemic impact of this particular process that you're talking about? How does it shake out the system? See, you need to have a system provides including. System is in place because of the fact that the needs for many are for few, which is a fact that I think is through experience. What is the systemic impact of your decisions? It's going to be important. How is your decision going to have stakeholders? Although you are creating value for someone and people to pay, so externality should not outweigh the benefits coming from our efforts, right? So what's not only the financial cost, what's the environmental cost, and what's the cost on other segments of the society also needs to be looked into. The third thing you need to look at very sharply is how are you going to leverage the premium that you're going to use by your scissors to be. Because today have cost on itself if they are economic right? It might not give you an impact today in a positive impact as how many reasons jumps is to time inflation, right? Something to look at. For example, is today, supposing mobile company makes a completely available, makes completely modern girls. And then because of that, it does not use the latest chipset. It uses or chipset it needs 400 how is this one using that which sound like those are the things that I would have back to. Thank you.
One point that is coming across from which is that what the consumer are also doing more and more in the country. Now, if you could start you if a person today you know wants to information, let's say you want they want to create a career which is something how can we do that?
Look, always fix the basics first. If you try to run another system, not a technique base, it will break. You work and slowly but steadily moving towards what is the right way to do things, right? Um, I mean, people today are going to be working on the shoulder of giants, right? So what Amaresh sir have, we have started out with completely different. But the foundation that that generation has given you, now we want you out to the next piece of work. Do not think of AI as well-being. And that's something I have spoken about yesterday also. It's going to be something, it's going to be a friend. It's going to be something that is going to uncover business models for you, which we people have not even thought of. Like, so, for example, smartphones. When the iPhone was launched in 2007, it was a game changer. Nobody even knew in 1970s the smartphone is quite cheap for taking the house, right? The closest thing that happened to a smartphone was that the materials, no one knew. So things are going to change faster. Things are going to chart a lot of things. The winners are be those who connect people on the basis of their purpose. Their vision and their purpose. This is redefining. So maybe whatever you do, it was still on today. One things which comes to my mind is the various quotations. One is two colleagues, I would say. One is being standing. So, what I was going on, okay, so strategy, resilience. And second point which comes for as a finance, what you mentioned, becomes these questions on being high. So as you mentioned, AI is not going to replace the people, it's going to add additional job opportunities for all of us. And it's going to make things much more faster. It was difficult before, it's becoming easy now. What was challenging is becoming now available, and what already imagined can be performed on the AI platform. Requires so much is frozen important states resilience future. Those situations being innovative and finding solutions that are related to changes. So that's called short business. Strategy, bringing new partners, new communities. That's called resilience. The second time what I say is around what mentions when you think back at home. Well, expected ingredients like resilience that come from expertise in there's too many of these at least. So I want to advise people on this, you know, like we talk about marketing perspective. Now, and I'll take a little bit from Sarah as well. And how do you say and streets for this to be so, one thing, you know, if you're one thing you should be able to know is no storytelling very well. If you be storytelling, you're when our sustainable solutions used up there, can anybody? Is it abiding by the GRI laws? Is it abiding by the ISST laws? Is it abiding by the what is it following? That's what different laws of sustainability being. What is it abiding with? You're solving any SDG problem, right? In marketing, there is an SDG problem. Stocks what rights or anonymously. So focus on one SDG if you want to focus on, but transparently in a storytelling manner to your customer. अगर गलती हुई है, if you are in a journey of sustainability, tell that we have solved this, we will do this. Today, You are honest transparency. Where are you in the journey of sustainability? No company is today the best in sustainability. They are three. What we call in marketing as co-create with the customer. Customer को बीच में लाओ, co-create और already along with the customer. Not you want to watch you must. When you do all of this, your focus should be on going first. The focus should be on going on this. Focus should be on increasing the growth of the company. Right? So everything should be integrated. The sustainable solutions should be integrated so that the outcomes finally matters. You know, like there is a professor in the US, Professor Singh, who talks very beautifully on that sustainability is a business problem and first the sustainability problem. Very interesting, right? He has recently come out with his own book. So if students are interested to read his book, I think it's a great opportunity to read his book. And he talks quite a bit on that. And if you are in American Marketing Association, if you go to American Marketing Association, there is special discussion group on sustainability. If you guys are interested, I'm just putting it out there. If you are interested, join the group. It has really good seminars. Small, go and listen to few people there. It's the best performer. Right. Now let me tell you a story. I was in Singapore last week. I was one of my mentors is from Singapore. And we are sitting in this beautiful street and you haven't seen it. You are talking communities. My mentor said, "Oh, do you know? In Malaysia, most small companies not really know about sustainability." He said, all companies have to report about sustainability. I said, yes. All companies in Malaysia, small, medium-sized companies have to return report what they report sustainability. It's a real mandate to report about sustainability. I said, okay. So then he goes on to say, you are sustainability. Like they're reporting about sustainability and they know nothing about sustainability. What do you mean by that? He said, sustainability outcomes are outsourced. Means you have to go to a third party. And Sarang and Hariram would know because they're from the consulting space. You go to a third party like a Big Four, they will make you a sustainability report. It's a proper formatted report. It's very shocking. Why would it close? The same thing report. So the entire report. So it's a you know, that's the thing. It's a who is working for some years. You and you it's the one that's important for me. It's sad, she worked along with us. We and knowledge and work with the so imagine people doing all this work, only and this music impacting them, what is feeling from their hearts. They have no idea. No idea at all. This is the reality I'm telling you from all the Asia Pacific markets. We are here. So if we are discussing sustainability today, I think after 5 years, awareness kicking out. That's the awareness people. Okay. You might feel good about this, all of us talking really well. But if you go into our organizations, what are you doing is traditionally. You ask for everybody there, the consultants will tell you know, what are you doing? Show me. What are you doing for sustainability? How is it going to get impacted? How many companies in India can actually show you what's the real impact of their work? Impact of their work clear impact of their work. So leaders need to be resilient in the near future is what I see. First, really, really
Makes sense. Like in terms of domestic companies, they have to be all the aspects gender diversity, medicine, all that. And what is interesting when I go through the reports is that, as you were saying, there's no story. They want to do everything. If they are doing something for the environment, something for people, something for workers, something for air, something. But no clear current strategy, stories coming out. Uh, how some people start today, especially those are the students.
Well, that's a very difficult question to be very honest because, on an average, similarly as company, at least 24,000, 25,000 tickets, right? Of which at least 20% to 30% are what we call as early careers. That's the 1 year mark. I would assume a significant portion of you would fall into that zone of early careers, right? Uh, I'll be honest, this is been the biggest problem for most of the managers who are technical, right? We call the generation gap is real, and technology disrupting each of our thought processes are also real, right? So when I look at it from the lens of the exiting, probably, as he said, that the exiting workforce versus the incoming workforce. The only element that we all request most of the incoming workforce is remember, and this is an activity I do. I can probably explain this the way I got the early career members into my organization. So I will like take up a day paper, write all that core strengths that you have, write everything that you believe is most valuable that you bring onto the table. And I simply ask them to crush that paper and put in the dustbin right below. Right? And I say, you're a human, you're walking into the human centric organization. Bring that as your most important primary aspect. Right? So that's something that we all miss out, right? When I was in your space, I am being words, you big wings, I can fly. I had all the arguments when I sat for interview. I literally probably wanted that minute when the interview said, "Do you have questions?" And I had a list of all questions that I wanted to ask back. And I had all that arrogance, but when I turned back 3 years down the day, you should have done it. Right? That's a late realization. Then that's the whole deal, right? Because first and foremost, you're human beings. When you are entering a human centered organization, no matter which industry they are in, right? Manufacturing, consulting, banking, financial sectors, whatever it is. End of the day, it's human centric. Humans drive. Resilience is not built in a market in a manufacturing sector. It's inside each one of us. Right? They stole our or rather they refused to give the championship trophy to us. We found a way to celebrate right there in front of the public, right? That's us. That's naturally us. That's really who we are. Bring that nativity up. Right? It's not about your IIM. It's not about how great you are in your AI. When you've done whatever you've done, the first quality you bring is you. Second, most important of all, have a little amount of headway into your careers. Right? Have a plan for 2 years or 3 years or whatever it is. Don't just go with that, break it down. But there has to be a balance between your short and your break it down to your 30, 60, 180 if required, plus balance it out to your 2 years and 3 years. You'll be surprised. I had an early addiction last month. And when I asked that kid, he was a guy from a big B school, don't want to name him, big B school. And then I said, what happened? Did something go wrong? Like, your organization is great, yeah. It's a dream company to work for. Fabulous work culture. You guys don't even micromanage, blah, 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 blah. He spoke for 20 minutes. All good things that we did. I was happy, but he was still leaving. So I was confused. Like, what is the problem then? Why? It's like, pause, listen. I have everything in my life. I asked my father for a new iPhone. He refused. I need money. I picked up a job 3 months of pay slip. I got it. I'm leaving. And she was really about saying, to dad calling spoken this man. That's generation or then if your aim and target is only an iPhone, please don't spoil the opportunity for another guy to draw stay down for a little longer. Then that's the whole deal, right? Balance your plus 30, plus 90 and plus 24 months or 36 months, very critical. Internships. How many of you are really gun about your internships? One hand goes up. Wow.
Brand fire.
Second, first year and second year.
Okay, so your internships are very critical time period. We have it's like net practice. So if you play games here, that's great. So you recognize the term net practice. It's like typically you don't get out. You can continue playing even if you got out in the name of perfecting your skills. Right? Typically internships are like that. You can fail, you have the license to fail, you have the license to go back and say I messed up. Can you help me? Right? Those are things. But today, what we've noticed that in internship period, first 30 days, 40 days, people sleep through, they just come, they have fun at workplace. And then last 5 days before you have to create that report because your professor is going to ask you for it, ChatGPT. Right? ChatGPT. What did you really learn? Use of ChatGPT. Was that the intention of the internship? Definitely no. Right. So, but that's what it is. Take the internships very seriously. It's the place for you to start workplace in real sense. Right? And how many of you are a mentor from or a coach from the corporates or at least your own professor group? Again, very few hands went up. Right? So that's again a very important thing. Now, your mentor, you can ask that person shamelessly anything. I have a mentor at this stage as well. Country manager, CHRO, and you don't think we have a bulletproof, right? No, we don't. We really don't. We also have those zones of blind spots where we're like, what do we do? So we also have mentors. And these mentors probably, I did my mentor way back when I was in my third standard. I continue to use the same sounding board. So this mentor has seen me grow from stupid to really stupid. But that's what it is. So have that. So if you need to mismatch these, which you bring your core skill onto the table, which is what you guys have learned, which probably is going to challenge every thought processes back in the workplace. So bring that on. But if you are systematically working it through, and you have a strategy in place, right? You need to have your strategy in place. So if you have your strategy in place, put your own. So if I have to use the jargons that we learn in IIM, right? Make your own quote as 5 quotes. Make your own way out. Or when, whatever it is. Your best is about the organization. Do all of those reports readily available in your hand, and then when you go back, you're a very different person.
Thank you. That's very honest advice. Amazing. How we like to it.
See, this is a very broad topic. Can take an hour to talk about it, but few uh, basic things in this world of change. The changes are we may think that the borders are defined by the boundaries we have for the countries. It is not. We are defined by the environment of the world. I mean, AI has taken over, so there's a lot of change going to happen now. For these two levels, if you want to be preparing the business or in the product, one of those the interdependencies is going to be the key element for you. If you are in your own silos of functions in the organization, then it will not work. So learn those interdependencies, how the business works. Because your teams will know, will create outputs. Actually, you can ask them how these outputs go and execute the different functions. So you need to learn the process through and through of a business. So and it's not because I mean you have to have intelligent curiosity, creative thinking, and to learn these skills. The social skills will be very important for you. So that's how you will survive in the future. You know, one go to a new place which will have no one's destinations working with you. This is the conflicts. When I was hearing you techniques talking about business, you nothing but nothing. Like too many things already human resource for this business. It's 30 ratio, 30 over 70 ratio. So the future of the world is this. And then all these three legs I've said, and then there's a book. I read that book many times. It's very close to me. And I will recommend that. There's a book called The Changemaker Mindset by Elizabeth. So please read it. This is a book that helps you prepare for the future. No, prepare how to adapt to change, how to create some change. No, and like it's not a digital being aware of AI as a competitor. Don't compete with AI. No, you need to support AI. You need to be in AI and be supported over. Then it's not AI. So how is going to change your workplace, change you, and how what you are not so. So then change mental mindset. Also, you have to set your own goals. Then you have to work you have that is no thinking through this discussions. That is one recommendation I have that is trying to work when you read those topics around change adaptation. It's going to be very fast. You don't see it through. You actually you see the change as this is like the organizational change. So when you go out from here, your first step in an organization is to like you have one organization they want, all I can follow. That's a lot of people start to leave the organization in the first 1 and 2 years because they were not prepared for that. Now little things like you see in today's world and I hear the regular scared about this. And what is it? No, the most have 6 times a day. Well, because that's the things that are so these are a few personal examples. I'm another one, yes, and we spent about 8 months working with my daughter while noticing where was tracking both stewards working on the dance of the song, none of the reality, in the because it's rewarding, it's not prepared. So that's where we should invest time and money. Thanks.
Yeah, I think there are two things which I feel. I think to start with, I would say,
So I think first thing about acceptance, very sad and very, very not accepting I don't know, I don't know. Start. So I think most of the things you will be studying here, but might be joining the corporate, things have changed. Things are changing in different ways. So accepting that, I think it's the first thing which I feel bringing the more humility. I think which is important for your career progression. And then respect when you work with the people around you. I think we learn from each other. I think people from a different ethnicity, different backgrounds, communities will have a different. So how you embrace that? It's very important to grow up and you have externalize something that's very difficult. I think in a family, it's a kind of a natural organization. How we familiarize in person in a family, when it is married, something to the family, going rush. that's how, that's how things. So I think, to base that, and, I think that will definitely have a going with the end of sense of fulfillment, have achieved something. And, I think two things I always focus the being humble. And when it comes to the, I know you have a tag of when you go. So it's important to learn from everyone you're working with. Most of things have been covered by colleagues, like interdependence. Of course, you have to continuously upgrade yourself. Like, very popular, like one now, lean now, learn new things. It's important to keep going, upskill yourself. Sit, after, okay, my MBA is done, now I don't need further. Keep exploring what the new things that happen. Learn from across the world, because today I think, most of things are accessible, This digital world is, giving us so much opportunity, like, now very best to you guys. The internship is very important, which I touch, I think they're very important. Focus on that. I think, abstract and have patience. It's very important, because I understand, like, in corporates, similarly don't do that and people comes to us. So have patience. Wait. And I'm telling you, get back to you for sure. Thank you.
Hey, just to add on, the point that comes back to me, right? We're all from IIMs. We're all from IIMs. The rating is actually now wired for this weird to see, oh, my place is the bottom. It's not like anywhere listed like what's there. Right? We should think in that way. But it's your responsibility. When I started global organizations, when I started working with people, one of the places we did what we called as non-destructive testing, UT, right? And there was this group of technicians, which in India we call as plumbers, but they're given very fancy names in the US. This person was paid like insane amount of value. About 300 to $400 just pick up your phone and say, yes, tell me. Can you imagine? Right? And so I met this person and I was like, tell me, how is it that you reach this scale? How could you manage to get this kind of a power in this? And the simple response he gave is, kid, of course, I was a kid at that time. It's like on my kid, you might know how to reconstruct this entire pipeline, but can you tell me where is the rust wedge just knocking at the walls? They're like, I am a HR professional, thank you. But then that's the whole deal. He knew what to do by just knocking at the pipeline at different layers to tell you where is the rust, where is the blockage, etc. So it's sometimes you need to understand we might have the entire skill set, right? We might have everything under the sun that we need as know-how to talk about it, but practical execution comes from the ground. So your internships or when you start your career, I go back there, right? Learn the business from the ground first. If you don't understand what the ground is doing, your boardroom decisions are going to be like diversity and inclusion without a women project or a gender neutral project in your city. It's going to be that dirty. Right? So just a food for thought.
We were in a different room before we came there, all of us, told that sustainability is and I think I saw it in the video as well. So this, Kashipur, sustainability is a core area. So I would also like to see is somebody from this group. Problem is sustainability is just a talking point. Today we have people like another good friend of mine who works for Hero Group. He is a chief sustainability officer. Chief sustainability officer job is only on sustainability. And there are more positions where people don't have experience on sustainability. So board is looking at can we have a third party from outside, third party member from outside who can guide us to sustainability? So the world is changing, right? Get these experiences in the know of sustainability and try and build your careers if you're very serious about sustainability. All of us said you are purpose driven towards sustainability. If you're not purpose driven, don't force yourself. In IIMS, I think this is something which is very unique. This IIM is doing. If you are able to know self, interest, and purpose, I think there is nothing like it. I think that's the objective of the panel as well for the entire morning and evening, right? So I like what uh, my friend also said, right? That now mentors early in your career. Very early. I also had mentors very late in my career. I realized all of you need to have mentors very, very early. I think I told you when the world is changing very fast. You and there will be many things thrown at you. They want to manage that age, circles manage everything because there was predictability in the way the business world was structured. The AI coming in, in the morning I was I was looking at my phone and browsing as all of us do sometimes. I saw the MBA and I'm in the bar on AI. The first question paper says, and they are looking at a paper which says, use AI, but it's not the prompts which you are using. So you're getting evaluated on the prompts which you are using. Right? And please do not put IAMS that I am from IAMS inside your resume on your LinkedIn right at the top. Don't do that. Purpose should be guiding your LinkedIn topics. If you are on LinkedIn, which is a best place to write, but your purpose on LinkedIn at the top. You say I'm ISP graduate, I'm IIM graduate. You are what you are not. You are a different person beyond IIMs. Right? If you want to lead the sustainability way, okay.
Yes, about I'm possible video next. Can only I am within anyone. Now, Nova itself, these people profit like from the inception itself, we have been talking about that. But let's now hear questions from the audience. Right? You have been basically looking for us. So, you have any questions for any panel member? Please feel free to ask. Yeah, please.
Thank you, madam.
Basically, yes.
Was grateful for the session. The session was wonderful. So, we are speaking about sustainable future. In the whole conclave session, we had certain thoughts about how a company should be or how a company should drive towards purpose. So, when it comes to purpose and sustainability, and you are given distinctions between one sustainability or a purpose-driven company. So,
I think is it directly to the specific person?
Thank you, Stephen, for purpose. Sustainability. Purpose, you need to understand, like, purpose is the thing, your existence, why you exist, why you know what you know, is your purpose. Okay. And then when you set your purpose right, things follow from the purpose. No, just to clarify these things. We already know Sandler. Well, was the number of medals, the number of world championships, the number of recrossings. No, it's all about 2007 or something. He was asking, what is the purpose? No. He was spokesperson. I mean, he was practicing, preparing for 100 meter, 200 meter race and long answers to press. Relays and something. He defined his purpose. I want to be a legend in my lifetime. That was the concept. No, be a legend in my lifetime. He did not say, I want to cricket world record. He did not say, I want to win the Olympic medals. I want to win all the Olympic medals. So, well, he didn't say that. One was simple. I want to be a legend in my life. And he became a legend in his life. So his purpose of his existence at the track and field was so high that all the Olympic goals and all the world records became the milestones. They still towards being the movement in the lifetime. So that's why so when you say purpose, for sustainability, these are not you have to create that. Purpose, you have to set your purpose. Sustainability will be part of it. Because of one of the things you cannot see uh, but let me see if I can answer your question, Sridhar. Just to add on, see, really it's about purpose of the organization from some perspective, right? Every organization needs to survive and needs to have a purpose. For a common term, and we have discussed, money term reliance on the purpose of the organization. Sustainability is one way of defining purpose. It's not the only way. When we are discussing sustainability, that doesn't mean sustainability is the only way when the organization looks at purpose. There are other ways as well. Right. The organization, as I said, has to define what purpose we want to focus upon. And I will take purpose organization is still modernism because these are non-still absolutely not. And you not example because your purpose is to unlimited in the moment of crisis. I mean, if you read that, most the see how was on James Berkeley began this hero dance in 1975. He then told us to, as mentioned, was in existence for 30 years. Okay. We saw him because statement on the wall. Uh, initiative of taking that credible statement in the board. We started to have along that interesting. It's was a responsibility to society. That is how we started to drive that revenue statement. Revenue statement is a purpose statement. The purpose statement in the organization is from the boardroom discussions and we used to have a three one on the purpose statement. And that's how we started to build this across the organization. Now, 7 years later, 1982, Johnson and Johnson had a medicine called Tylenol. Tylenol. Yes, in US, 1 billion people died consuming that drugs. Then few people in other cities also died consuming the medicine. Came out was that someone had acted to uh, poison that particular medicine because that was the highest selling brand of Johnson and Johnson. That particular product, it was laced with cyanide and thrown into the market, and people would die. Now, why I quote this purpose statement as when James Berkeley had to face the press, he was asked to face the press, and he was prepared by the government to go and face the press and say something. No, they prepared him for that, and they put him in front of the press, and he was there, and he forgets everything. So what he said was that he started our commitment is towards the patients, customers, and society first. Also strongly believe that it's right that he answered that and he said, you're giving us a little bit about on the market. When the market is an investor, which was a lot of money. So, in the moment of crisis, also, and that's for us to get my investor. So, yes, the government had prepared him to say something else. When he walks there, his purpose remained in it. So that's also. I'm sorry to quote a example, but that's a thank you for quoting that example. That is one of the biggest example in the history if you read. Yeah. Johnson of a CEO taking back the entire, which was multi-billion dollar all of the solve purpose. That because we don't look at finances. So if you are stronger over enough time, and if you read the story, yeah.
I just had this one question. I think there's this continuum that exists between profit and purpose. So, how do companies choose between these two things? And tell me one such instance where your company in particular had to choose between the two, and how did you make that decision?
So,
So I tell you, as an organization, if you look at instead we generally based institutions of corners can cut it. So as an organization, we launched a Spire. If you can read more about the Spire. So what we have done, we have engaged one of females, sales managed group, and I was checking these are one of pretty you are using a lot of activities. So in Gujarat, we engaged a good amount of females. As we are giving those wastage, for creating new products for that. So if you ask me, like companies are not only looking at the profits are important, but at the same time, what are we giving back to society? So I think you have to facilitate that and balance out. If you ask me, there are organizations they can care of themselves alone with organizations. They have their own purpose. At the same time, the organization like those are commercially for profit. They have purpose. At the same time, they are giving back to the society. So I think you say there are purpose which is sustainable, giving when I look at the data, we are not just focusing maximizing the profit. Even one of the organization I don't quote that. I was interacting with somebody yesterday. It's a strive for my mind. So he was telling I was very happy with the promoters thought process. You know what he was telling? There are competition. They're selling you one kit of, let's say 18 grams or something. Okay. Some spices, please. And they're selling the packet around 10 rupees. And the competition is selling around 12 grams at 10 rupees. So the existing team was saying, why don't we reduce that quantity of let's say 18, 14 or 16? We can make money if you ask me. He said the promoter said, who is buying that pocket, 10 rupees spices, buy and work hard and then he's buying that 10 rupees. So that's how that's come with more with a orientation of the promoters, what they're looking for. And when you look at the bigger organizations, investors, they try to purpose if you ask me. And are we really only focusing on the profit, or are we then okay amount of profit and doing something? So like we talk about employer branding. That's how organization has no provide data not for them. So it's not all about profit. I think there are many stories that way. So I hope you are.
uh, I'll give you a perspective. There are four P's of marketing. Everybody knows there are three P's of sustainability. Planet, people, and profit. If I change the profit to performance, the thin line between profit and performance. An example of a sold company, Apollo, no group of hospitals. Apollo has this live dashboard on sustainability in so now I don't know why declining insurance environment. We have how have they scaled? What are the various hospitals doing well? So they are competing amongst their internal one hospital, the hospital, the third hospital. This is performance. Performance is an outcome.
If you focus directly on profits, sustainability will not remain sustainability. So let's focus on three P's, which is planet, people, and performance rather than profits. Then sustainability makes a larger impact. If I may, I just bear with me, right? This is way of happy end. So the concept in family business called shared sleeves to shared leaves, shared leaves to leaves of three solutions. What it means is that if a family business is able to survive on three generations, it's going to go with time. Now, what understanding is that family business
Sustainable, I think.
now, family businesses, for a very long time in India, profit used to be the buzzword. They only used to look at the numbers. Numbers are important. Now, yes. So, uh, what I just trying to wrap up what Subhashi ji and Rich have said that now profit and numbers plus.
I think maybe from the finance.
Well, we just involved by purpose, the value system, the systems. If you this parameters, then naturally profit. Okay, you will be a profit. It's a certain means, but just for it and all. It's all it's purpose, innovation, sustainability. So if you have a purpose, you'll be sustainable. Have sustainability, you will be able to innovate.
Any other question? Yeah, yes, please.
Sustainability is often taken as a luxury that some firms say that first let's be profitable, then we will think about sustainability later on. As mentioned the example of Malaysia that SMEs were supposed to submit a report about it. Do you think this is something lacking from the government side in India that sustainability is not good enough, or there can be some policies that can bring more
See,
encouragement?
see what we are trying to say is that you which is sustainable, which is sustainable. Go on, put sustainability in the end of the byproduct, you know.
Yeah.
What sustainability to the world and what sustainability to the industry. Yes, I will get the issue happens. So get it. And it should be done naturally. Not building a sustainable product. It will not be, yeah, sustainability कैसे add करेंगे इसके अंदर? No. You guys are getting it. So that part is called greenwashing. So naturally in the strategy, in the manufacturing, I think we talk about manufacturing a lot. In the manufacturing of the product, the sustainability element needs to come somewhere. If you're not having a product with sustainability, you're adding sustainability on top of it. So that the consumer, the Gen Zs need to get to my product and I need to put sustainability in the end. No. Right?
We take the sustainability as a growing component, or should we focus at increase of profitability?
No, from the beginning.
So I need in rather than thinking about things in the product strategy. Right? So there has to be passionate enough to say when you have your product systems and solutions, what is the This over one line. So, sustainability. It goes start with sustainable. Then your business. If you have that in place, then you automatically get it. So there is a thing of exploring that. But in our company, leading goals comes from the sustainability council. We have a chief sustainability officer. The chief sustainability council is head of all the functions and all the businesses. When they set the leading goals, they become the driver for our business. So that's how it goes. I am Kashipur and sustainability from the beginning. Yeah. It is now slowly we have otherwise after local sales people are moving on fast to sustainability. One of the photo I do not listen. This little story about this taking understanding. Correctly. So the guy he was in US and he said that I want to start a business in this field, but I want one of course it has to be natural leather, not artificial. Second, the way they tan it, the color it is very harmful to the body. So they find a way which can be done naturally. He's looking around in US, he finds some technique called EI. You know what is EI? It's not that it's used to the technique of natural technical level. He comes back to India, then he learns the process. There are very few people left who actually know the process. Hires all of them, works with them, and now they say we are involved. So they how are you reaching something? That's the normal research you need to do to get to that. And then you influence, then that's the normal research. And then you have the story. Then you go about storytelling to your customer, and then see your brand is like anything. Right? I think one of the question we can take. I think you had raised your hand. Yes, please.
You mentioned the experience of how a person joined a company for the sake of 3 months to get an iPhone. At that time, I'm sure most of the other candidates would have been potential, maybe. And we often face this kind of problem, even from the company side and then from the tech side. Think any strategy could be made up to bridge the gap at the students or at the from the company side, where we can actually state the purposes of everything because we cannot make it entirely an answer. It will be like a just a saying. Correct. So how can we bridge that gap? Can the company and the student both bridge the gap?
See, from a company's perspective, we've kind of developed a lot of strategies, right? We've got tons of assessments, we've got tons of frequent evaluations. We come with, okay, to answer it, you're alive, so we understand this very well. If my p value is 0.8 after all the analysis is done, I can take that result and then say, okay, I can use that, but repurpose this for my next round of interview. If some of the tools are fallen below 1 day, no, it's probably is not reliable as well. Or as inventory hacking reduce. Some do it along patterns, right? But we're let's not forget that. The native intelligence always beats the artificial intelligence. There is no way on Mother Earth that anybody can claim that, oh, I have really artificial intelligence system that cannot complete the native intelligence. No ways. And to add on, right? AI is not going to take your job. You don't know how to use AI is going to take your job. Simple as that. Right? The moral of the story still very comes with that. But native intelligence is going to beat the guardrails in one. Right? Now, one of these skills is that and number of different reasons, his case studies, blah 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 blah. He did it. He was right there. He did it. The instant where he did, his purpose is around the offer. What's the deal, right? So it's not a question of how do I company to company each other, how do I one of how moves the other person or any of that. You have tons of availability in terms of information, right? But you say some for an internal coach, the entire system. Understand every filtering that possibility is available as an intelligence information, right? Today, if you look at most of systems have systems, right? And then you have downloads of publications that are done around how people live those values. There are so many case studies that organizations published on. By the way, this was our core value that was delivered in this project, right? Screens. So, I think it's whenever it goes on, if you ask ChatGPT, like he said, the right prompt. You put the right prompt, then ChatGPT is going to be 6 months old information, but good enough.
Correction.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Good enough for you to understand what those organizations are doing. That's you. All that research. Pick up your whole idea of what is plus 60, plus 24 months, plus 36 months going to look like. How is it add value to your career aspiration? Right? And when you have the question of, okay, do you have questions for me? This is the biggest thing that we hear when candidates early careers. The first thing they ask is probably salary. The second thing they ask is, so when do I get promoted? Or things of that sort. Right? There is a quality question coming in from there. When we give an opportunity, you have a question. No one's asking about what's your values. And no one's asking about, okay, can you give me an example of something which really means no one asks these questions. So maybe that's where the differentiation has to come. A simple, grounded example.
Actually, Hariram, this beautiful question if you ask me. I have been pondering on this question for and I went to my when you guys were interacting, I was thinking sometime back I went to my mentor and I asked this question. So he said, I'll ask him, what were you doing when he was heading a very large specific company and he was a president? And I asked him, what did you do when you're hiring from a value perspective? He said, well, when I finished the interview, I said, okay, I have answered all the questions. By the way, I wanted to tell you my values. Then he used to tell his value system, right? And you started a conversation saying, okay, these are my values. And the interviewer would somewhere resonate and you will get inside a conversation. Sir, ये भी मेरा भी value है, sir, I like that. So you are indirectly getting to understand the person. Although that's not a question, but to end the conversation, you can say, by the way, thank you so much for the conversation. I just wanted to share my values as a leader. Please share your values. Well, this is my learning, which I got in the last maybe a month or back when I spoke to her. As I said, mentors teach you this.
Interestingly, thanks to it, right? So this is what we do upfront. We don't push it to the last, by the way. So our conversations start with this. When we sit through an interview, the first thing is, hey, next 30 seconds, please listen. I want to introduce myself. I want to introduce my organization. That conversation, all these are already done. Right? And upfront, we put the selection criteria also in place. In fact, my case study, for example, my case study also has the same thing, right? Please use AI, but after you finish your native intelligence work, you can validate whatever you finish, but don't use that up. So that's the last point in the assessment criteria. I will declare this up on things that they will be. And if you look at it, the top 5 elements will all be about how you are students. And so entire conversation is all about you, not what you got educated on, what your first strings are in terms of skill only. And you're there in that table because you already probably outperformed a couple of other candidates. Otherwise, you wouldn't reach the 3 or 8 in there because you outperformed. Now it's a question of being there, of who you are. I just want to respond.
Problems, but in a longer term, it's much bigger implications. There are a number of stories where we have done much bigger price, including a number of hundreds of dollars. That's my solution.
So thank you so much, once again, coming here and talking about sustainability. I think as a panel, we agree that sustainability is no more seen as a burden. Obviously, it is as something which can opportunities, something which is at least essential to come in the future. Of course, there brings a lot of opportunities as sort of talking about in Malaysia, for example, importing is required. In India, also importing norms are quite strict as compared to rest of the world. So there are a lot of opportunities for people, there are a lot of opportunities for the companies also. And not only sustainability is just an opportunity, but also, as you are saying, resilience. That is where it comes to the next side. Builds resilience to organizations. Of course, natural disasters are increasing, but of course, organizations have to be resilient. And if they're not systematic, focus, they understand these issues better, they can be resilient. And that goes not only for organizations, but also people. People also are really more driven rather than job. Just get for salary. And that's a beautiful coincidence that companies and people are looking at purpose at the same time. And even for us, like those who want to work in a place that creates for opportunities. So thank you so much. And we can continue the discussion on once this paper, but right now we thank you.
So please, for a while. Thank you for your valuable insights and clarifications. We are truly honored to have heard all of your words of wisdom. As we wrap up this powerful discussion, one idea stands clear: purpose and performance are not trade-offs but teammates. Sustainability is no longer a separate agenda; it's the way businesses must be done. With token of appreciation, we would like to present our esteemed panelists and the moderator with some mementos and goodie bags for their valuable insights and contributions today. We now invite Professor Deepak Verma to kindly present the token of appreciation and Professor Utkarsh to hand over the goodie bags to our distinguished guests. First up, we have Mr. Amaresh Singh. With insights on how the tenets of purpose, sustainability, and innovation are shaping the future of business, took our discussion to the next level. And we thank you greatly for the same, sir.
We go out with those backgrounds. I think you want to
Yeah. So a reminder that we should look beyond skills and truly look at people really resonated with us. The idea that when we believe in our vision, we naturally attract those who align with it. And that we should bring Solution to Mr. Rohit Vilati. So your call to co-create, produce, and consume sustainably, and your framing of sustainability as both a business problem and a business solution offered a fresh lens. The advice to seek mentors early in our careers is something I'm taking to heart. Thanks a lot for your contributions today, sir. Several years. On steering our careers towards our purpose were incredibly valuable. The way you spoke about strategic resilience and reimagining possibilities through AI opened up a new avenues of reflection for all of us. Thanks a lot for all of your contributions today, sir. We now call upon Mr. Saran Kanchan to receive the tokens of appreciation. We thank you for reinforcing that sustainability is now the norm, not the exception. Your emphasis and clarity, vision, passion, and purpose were energizing. Just the niche insights on co-creating with customers, collaboration, and embracing the change were good. The call to action on systemic impact we decisions was highly valuable in this day and age. We thank you greatly for the same, sir. Last but not the least, I request the professors to also present our moderator with a token of appreciation. We thank Sir again for being a wonderful moderator, for proliferating driving the conversation and making our panel discussion such a huge success. Thanks to our esteemed panelists for sharing their valuable experiences and thought contributions. I'm new to Professor of the Guide Standard Impact. From all of us for their guidance and support in making Manthan 25 a resounding success. Let's carry forward the lessons learned today to foster a brighter, more innovative future together. We will now have photograph of the audience. I request all of the students to gather in the middle